And you did not hear any. Oh, there's funny noise. Funny noise. Turn off now. Well, actually, oh, squeaky chair. Jeez. Speaking of noises, that's a good transition into this episode's about noises. Quite a nice put together set of noises, dare I say. Do you remember where we left off last time? It was about the music side of things.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first comment showcase that I just got a good kick out of that I would love for you to see. Or they tend to have pretty funny comments. They said, I think the last thing Vander would worry about is suddenly having a tail. Made me chuckle. Got a good laugh out of it. I just thought, you know, as someone who doesn't have a tail currently, suddenly
It would
growing
be,
a tail would
yeah, kind of jarring.
jarring. I don't know how. I don't think I'd know how to act.
I don't know if I would either. I'd probably feel awkward just walking around having
Well,
that attached to my body.
Vander is probably not gonna really be Vander anymore, though. He's gonna be all shimmered up or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
he will not most likely give a shit about having a tail. So then the second comment I thought was just good to bring up, especially for you to know, because we had a big discussion about it last time, was Sir Dromos let us know, or let me know, and there was someone else as well that let me know Echo apparently has a crush on Powder in the game itself, in the lore, rather.
Interesting. I didn't know
Yeah, neither did I. I still don't think it changes my perception about how I feel towards it, because, you know, it's obviously not a one-to-one, but
that. Yeah.
it was nice to know that, and the writers did have some inspiration there in terms of why they might have perceived that relationship. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you.
Okay, cool.
Alright, let's see who gets the quote first. And come the lights. No. Time to prove them all wrong once again. They
Oh
wouldn't do
fuck, I have no
Silco
idea.
again.
What that?
Wait, okay, so episode 5. I almost want to say Vi.
Is it Victor or something? I have no idea.
Could be Viktor in terms of, shit, why are we blanking? I think it's the heat. My AC is currently broken and it's 90 degrees in my room. And because I love you guys, I have my fan off so it doesn't make a horrible background noise. So I'm dripping sweat for this one. Blood, sweat, and tears, you know what they say.
I'm just dumb. I can't remember who said it.
Okay. Time to prove them all wrong once again. Let's take a bet since we're not as sharp this time around. Pick one
Okay.
character and we'll see either of us land on it. I'll let you have the honors of picking first. I'll get second dibs.
I can't even remember what happens in episode 5, dude. I'll go for Victor, I guess.
Alright. Fuck, I really feel like I can feel my legs slipping off of each
Sucks so bad, dude. I'm in a nice chilly room.
Fuck you, dude. Why you gotta share that with me?
A little too chilly, actually, to be completely
Stop!
honest
What's
with
wrong with
myself.
you? You know, there's no too chilly. I'm literally down to as little layers as I can be without being nude, okay? You can just blanket up and solve your problem. Alright, actually, that's a good question. Would you prefer, audience members, would you prefer to be too cold or too hot? I would prefer to be neither. I'd like to be just perfect, but...
That'd be nice. That would be ideal, yeah.
No, but I think I prefer the cold. I tend to think a little bit better in the cold, and I get really sleepy in the heat. I just feel like drowsy and slow.
I just want to literally melt if I'm in the heat. I would prefer it too cold as well.
Alright, maybe I'll pin that as my top comment. Old. Anyway, alright, let me look up the fucking quote, because we're dumb.
The council assumes you'll fail. Time to prove them all wrong. Once again.
I forgot. So, it looks like it was Mel.
Oh.
Alright, well, shame on us for not getting this one. I understand if you want to unsubscribe. I totally get it. I'm already emotional and I'm not sure why. What do we just see in the background there? Like a fist. I'm gonna go back by 5 seconds. You can kind of make out a figure there. Maybe that's not a fist.
I can't tell what it is. I thought it was the silhouette of a being of some kind.
Yeah, I think it's a person as well. Could this be potential? I mean, I got a really clear shot of, as clear as it gets right here.
Oh, is it Jace holding his hammer?
Does that look like his hammer?
A little bit.
I don't know, it seems a little bit too thin at the waist to be Jace. Like, he kind of has that jacket. Maybe they'll fucking show us, but if not, then... They didn't show us. I
At
wonder who that
Riot,
was.
we've always loved music. In fact, in certain countries, people don't call us a game company. They call us a music company, and they say we're making games to do marketing for our music. And so obviously, when we dived into a TV show, we knew music was going to be a big part of it.
So there's like this philosophy or standard, I think, in writing in general, in media in general, where when it's done well, kind of don't even really notice it, or like the average viewer won't notice it, and that's how you know it's done really well. But when something is edited particularly poorly, you're like, oh wow, that feels choppy. Or when the music juxtaposes, oh, I hate
Juxtaposes.
Juxtaposes the tone of the scene that we're seeing, or maybe it stands out and we're like, ew, yucky, that's bad. And then there's this really wide range in between where everywhere from like mediocre all the way up to very, very good elements are not particularly given recognition because they are doing their job and we don't notice them. And it's only when you reach the very other far end, like the right far end of the spectrum of work, where it's so phenomenal that you finally actually notice how well and how good it is.
I know what you're saying, where if something is done well, you kind of don't notice just how well it actually is done because it just flows so seamlessly, you don't really notice.
I just added the playlist of Arcane on Spotify and I listen to it occasionally, and it's one of those where it stood out because it exceeded the norm. It didn't just do its job, it told more of a deep story because it was there and because it was doing the job it was doing. They viewed it as an entire other element that added on to it rather than just something we need to have in the background.
Yeah, like it's just as important as the writing itself.
Yeah, it's telling its own story, and that's great. So I was very much looking forward to seeing this episode. I'm gonna try this time around to make editing a little less choppy. Gonna be a struggle with the music, not gonna lie, but you know what? That's okay. We'll fucking give it a shot.
I think Alex, you once said when you go
Hey.
write a script, and I think it's the same thing with music, you know, when you go write a song and you sit down to do it and someone asks you, oh, are you gonna write a great
Wait,
song
I have
today?
a question.
Kinda like,
Okay, so I have a question. I was curious if you notice there's text on the screen. I've seen that a few times in part 1, 2, and 3 where they're editing or working on something and it has like copyright over it. Do you think
Like
that's just for us, or do you think they like have to work with copyright over it just in case?
Huh. I don't know. They might have to work with the I don't really know.
Because it looks like it's actually on their computers the majority of their time. Like, it doesn't look post-added. Maybe they only did it for when the cameras were around, but there were many shots where they were working on something or playing something and it had that copyright over it. Because of this, I kind of think it might have been partially recorded before Arcane actually came out. Maybe?
That would make sense.
But yeah, just a small thing I've noticed, because as a designer, how do you go about not getting annoyed with a fucking copyright thing over yours?
song, and you sit down to do it, and someone asks you, oh, are you gonna write a great song today? It's kind of like going, you know, maybe, you know, it's kind of like going fishing, he said. I know what tools to use. I have experience to know where the best spots are.
Welcome to the playground.
That's one of my favorite songs.
But whether or not I'm actually
On
gonna
the
catch
album.
one,
That was cool.
You can see in the background he's working on stuff and he has Silco up. So if you look at that, it has the copyright thing over it.
Oh, I can see it. The faded. I see the like watermark.
Yes. I just think it's interesting that they're in their own studio and they have copyright protection on their stuff when they're in their own environment. Like, maybe it's kind of a deal with when they send out files, they gotta make sure they don't, if they get leaked. I'm not sure. Do you know anything
Yeah,
about
that
it?
was weird. I have no idea. That's what you just said is a good guess that images getting leaked to have the watermark over it, maybe. But
Do
I
they not
honestly don't
trust?
know.
They do not trust like other people. I don't know.
Sometimes people manage to like hacks and stuff, they'll manage to get leaks from projects that are being worked on. So maybe that's why they're trying to be extra cautious. I don't know.
It's probably just security, but yeah, I just wanted to point out another example to you. I've noticed it a few times. I'm like, I find it kind of odd, but I guess from a business standpoint, it makes sense.
And when Arcane came about, we said, hey, we're going to craft a full album of all these different songs, of all these different genres. It really was the culmination of all the different skill sets that we've developed over the many years on the music team to craft something that's really unparalleled.
Think it's time to say goodbye.
Goosebumps.
Well, even I'm getting goosebumps a little bit.
Cool. Random note. I'm looking at a microphone. It reminded me. If anybody has good microphone recommendations, that would be great. Since I've reached 500 subs, I'm gonna try to maybe, get a nice mic so I can sound nice. Nice and, like, I don't know. So, okay, you ready to go back to Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Epic montage.
Welcome to my studio in North Hollywood. This is where we make some of the music for Arcane. Follow me.
Hello. Thank
So
you.
we were
for the
going for an
invitation.
incredibly messy aesthetic of gear everywhere. We don't invite people over. You're the first human beings I've seen or invited here in years.
Oh, what an honor.
We prefer dark, no windows. I love this space so much. It's the first time
Ooh.
I've been able to have like an actual piano.
Okay, the contrast between like his living room area / kitchen-ish area versus like this nice ass
Yeah, how pimped out this little
pimped out
studio
this
is.
place. Yeah.
Important instrument of them all, obviously, the French horn here.
Yes.
Everything I do is just French horn, and then I'll just auto-tune it to sound
Wait.
like other instruments.
Is that because it is from France, the show? This French horn? French horn for the French makes sense, obviously. You can't use an American horn. That would just be wrong. A book of rhymes with a toilet? Why is there... Oh, is it like a toilet book? Like when you're bored on the toilet, you go and read the book?
Maybe, I don't know.
Cool trick that I learned in school. Just kidding, I'm way in debt for my college loans. It's a sad story.
Very relatable.
What made Seaver really, really special is that he's not only extremely talented at writing melodies, for pop vocals, but also he's a classically trained musician. He went to Juilliard as a French horn player.
Oh, Juilliard.
When that career failed,
I don't know if you know, Elias, but Juilliard is like the renowned music school.
I did not.
Yeah. So
Nice.
getting into Juilliard is pretty tough.
we always wanted to make music part of the development from the very beginning instead of just this post-production phase, that it often is in film and television.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking originally. It came across as they knew music wasn't just something they wanted to just throw in the background to get it to be more emotional. They wanted to be their own, yeah, it's cool to hear it confirmed.
Yeah.
Obviously, that just makes more work, but well worth it. Well worth.
Yeah, it came up phenomenal.
But at that point, I hadn't done any.
What is that
longer form
mouse?
narrative work.
I'm
I'd done-
wait a second. I'm judging you for that mouse. I'm going back and judging you. What is this mouse?
It's from 2005.
What
Maybe it's
is
an Apple
that?
mouse.
It might be an Apple mouse. You know what? He's the one that's successful. Maybe we gotta go buy his mouse.
Yeah,
It almost looks pink on the edges, like a baby pink.
a little bit, yeah.
I love it, actually. Can we go get this mouse? He also looks like he has a round mouse pad, which I think makes sense now that I think about it.
Because you'll move it in around.
Yeah.
Way, yeah.
Fuck, man.
So this is a Guzheng. I might be
What
pronouncing
is
it
it?
slightly incorrectly, but,
What? What the fuck? What did he say this was? 1 second.
So this is a Guzheng.
A Guzheng? A Guzheng? Is that what...
Zheng. Oh, it looks almost identical to a koto.
Oh, so it's very similar to another instrument?
Yeah, I sent a picture of what I thought it was in the Discord, and this is what it actually is. They're almost identical. What is a koto? A koto's Japanese. Guzheng or whatever it's called, however you pronounce it, is Chinese. It looks like.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Thank you for doing that research.
You're welcome.
Be pronouncing it slightly incorrectly, but yeah, normally it's played. It has a pentatonic scale.
Oh,
you can
what did that
affect
just
pitch by,
remind me of?
you know,
The
pentatonic.
Avatar? The Last Airbender, I
Here.
think?
Maybe.
I've been using it completely incorrectly, playing the backside of the instrument.
Oh.
Or
That's
even
very
playing it with this
neat.
singing bowl mallet.
Spooky. Get some interesting sounds from that.
For the first few months, at least, we actually stayed away from any like picture material from the show, and we just explored themes in isolation for a character, every character.
Yes!
When we're
Yes! Sorry. I love it physically embodying metaphorical themes into a character. It make me really happy. Cool. Something that that statement reminds me of is when back in like classical MCU days where you have like the Spider-Man theme come on and you know what that theme embodies, like that what that song embodies, because at first it's just a song. Yeah, it's a song. But then we see Spider-Man go on his journey, and when you hear the song again, as the credits are about to come up, as he's swinging through the city, the song has this feeling to it. It carries with it the theme and the story of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really like that approach of trying to approach a song, producing music, a theme, and not trying to necessarily be like, oh, this is a fight scene, so it has to be fast-paced, and like we know what's going on, rather than like, oh, this is a scene in which Silco is undergoing character development for what he thinks family is, and we're going to explore what that sounds like rather than the fact that there's a fight or something going on. So different approach, good results.
Fantastic results. I agree. What, like the analogy just made, like the fight scene thing, making like a super crazy, fast-paced, awesome fight music versus what is actually emotionally and like character-wise happening with the people involved in the fight.
Wait, I think that actually happens. And I think there's music that plays over when, in the very beginning, first episode, Powder is against the wall, thinking down, scared, holding the bag.
Yeah.
I think there's like kind of a little more somber of a music playing. It's focusing on her theme, on what's going on with her and the theme of like fighting in general around her. And yeah, it's not, yeah. All right, we talking enough. This is just random thought. I kind of wish Jinx is behind this Vander statue, yeah.
Yes.
I always kind of forget that because there's something about her being there that I think can make this moment read differently than without her there, in the sense of Silco. I just wanted it to just be Silco's moment,
just
I guess.
Solitary emotional moment for Silco, yeah.
And it still does that really well. However, it helps the perspective of maybe there's the slimmest chance that he knew she was there, just maybe, and was trying to be manipulative, because I do know there are people that believe, or because, there is a lot to interpret. Some people don't believe that he would have not given up Jinx at the end, that he would have in fact given up Jinx, and that it was all just him being manipulative, and that throughout the entire time he was quite manipulative. And I can see the substance to that argument there. I think having Jinx present here makes that argument have a little bit more validity in my mind, whereas if this was him completely alone, I mean, maybe he didn't know Jinx was there, maybe he did, but I don't think he did know. Anyway, it just changes the atmosphere of it for me, is basically what I'm trying to say.
I get it, yeah. I get what you're saying.
I want having Silco be alone and this vulnerable is something we don't see a lot, him being this vulnerable, and kind of wanted to leave this scene, but then it like shows her.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I didn't think about it before, but I do thinking about if it were just Silco and his vulnerable solitary in the scene. I think I might have preferred that a little bit more as well. Yeah.
Well, you have to think about what does it add having Jinx there. What does it change? Like, what does it progress plot-wise or character-wise about her or the story having her there? Wait a second, would it be too much to get carried away and go back and watch that scene and then talk about it?
Sure.
Also, random note about this scene. When I saw this scene with Silco talking to Vander, the Vander statue, immediately I was like 98% sure he was gonna die at the end of the season, so this episode, because intuitively as a writer, I think his arc kind of checked off a lot of the boxes because of this scene, or it was one of the last boxes he needed to check off, if that makes sense.
Yeah. As
someone who doesn't particularly focus on writing, did you get that vibe, or no?
No, but yeah, I don't have the writer's brain, so I didn't think about it.
Okay, it's Hyperdinger. He looks so fluffy. Ah, I still can't get over the whole yordles and the procreating conversation that.
Oh yeah.
Hold up, I gotta flick the fan. My computer, I think I've already shared this yet. My
Your
computer
computer's
fan.
garbage.
Oh, well, it's fun. My computer fan doesn't turn on, so I have the tower panel attached constantly, and I have my task manager open with the temp open, and when it starts to reach 90, I go under with my hand real quick and flick my fan, and it manually starts it. I don't know why. Listen, I'll treat myself to a new fan if I can hit 1,000 subs, but until then, I gotta earn that fan, you know? Oh, quick note. If you're totally not interested in this, because we're going off track and we haven't done this before, I'll leave a little time note where you can skip to just go back to the reacting video part. Anyway, so I'd love for you to challenge yourself here, because I know you don't really explore writing that often, but I've been trying to get into your art, as seen in my masterpiece of arcane drawings, and I do think writing is its own art, and every choice a writer makes of what they want to show you, dialogue or visually, is purposeful. And I want to try to think why they chose to have Jinx here, be it for her character or the plot or both. So it's fun to me. I'm insane and find this fun? Question mark.
Okay.
1,000 times I've imagined this moment. Never like this.
Also, it's cool to analyze because of the discussion I saw going on about whether or not Silco was sincere. You know, the discussion over interpreting Silco as someone who never would have given up Jinx versus Silco would have, because he's been working towards this his entire life, you know, almost his entire life. Analyzing this scene, I think, will maybe give us some more insight on that, because he is truly being himself here.
Yeah.
I like the small note I didn't notice the first time that Vander's, what is it
His
called?
pipe.
Vander's little pipe is lit up.
I didn't notice that either.
It kind of almost makes it feel like he's there listening.
All we ever wanted. The boy didn't even haggle. And what do I lose but problems?
So he says, what do I lose but problems? I think he's trying to justify, yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it, Vander? Just give up Jinx and everything I've ever wanted. You know, he's not really a character that has been shown to, he's had to, for his own reasons, kind of not emotionally care about other people the way he does about Jinx. And he knows it makes him vulnerable. What the fuck? Who's that? That's just a movie line with some character that's like, I don't have friends. It just is like a weakness, you know. Caring about people makes you weak. And that's probably a common trope within cinema and media in general. Like, I can't get close to people, especially in, I think I said this in Marvel somewhere, but you can't get close to people because it makes me vulnerable. That's what he knows. So I think that's what that line is telling us there. Pensive music. Speaking of music. Love the porn went out for the homies. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Is that Vander's flask as well?
How would we know that?
Didn't Vander have a flask before he died?
How would he have gotten that?
Well, he was in front of Vander's body when he was holding Jinx, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that would have implied that he had the flask on him. And, like, when his shirt ripped off and everything, like, he was fighting, his flask was still on him.
I don't know, he took over his bar and everything.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
Just looked familiar to me
Is
for
there
a moment.
anything so undoing as a daughter?
Undoing. Okay, so I think I have my mind. I was kind of on the fence because the person in my comments made a good argument about interpreting Silco as potentially not been lying and would have given up Jinx. But undoing specifically means a person's ruin or downfall, the cause of a person's fall.
Yeah.
So, like, is there anything so undoing as a daughter? Him saying, I never thought Jinx would be my downfall here. But then again, you can still interpret that the other way. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I personally lean towards him being sincere and saying that he would not have given up Jinx for Zon. He seems to really understand why Vander had given up his ambitions for the freedom of their city with Vi and Powder, back when they had their personal conflicts, how Vander had lost the fight within him, and he seems to understand it now. That's kind of what I got to feel from in the scene.
Yeah, and the only other thing was meta commentary, though, that makes me think that is the fact that in episode 2, I believe, they talk about how one of the major themes they wanted to explore was the theme of family. Like, that was one of their major through lines throughout the entirety of the season. I think Silco embodies that theme as well. Like, what makes someone family? And kind of went through an arc of coming to terms with caring about someone enough that I think he considers Jinx family. It's interesting. I mean, I'm almost starting to think that maybe these things do not have to be mutually exclusive. As in, him, because we're so complicated, and a person loving and considering someone family as much as he does with Jinx, but also at the same time manipulating her, maybe even subconsciously to himself, maybe not like full on, strategically doing it, but kind of molding her into the person he thinks is a good person,
Yeah.
I think that's probably where the answer lies, somewhere in between there. So let's just finish looking at the scene and see Jinx's reaction to this.
Okay.
I mean, if you're Jinx and you just heard so undoing as a daughter, how do you feel?
He literally said, "What do I lose other than problems?" He literally just called her only problems.
That's not. So that's interesting because that's the way she probably interpreted it because she has trust issues, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the problems are the fact that he has, he's running into problems with his group that isn't obeying him anymore. Vi's back, right? He doesn't have like the Undercities. He doesn't have any power. He wants control with Hex. That list that he gave Jace, he's got a lot of problems going on. I wouldn't consider Powder one of the problems. Problem being like, but it's interesting that you said that because that's exactly what I think Jinx probably interpreted. Like, maybe he wants to get rid of me because I'm the problem. I mean, that's what she thought about herself when she was a kid too. Back in the very first episode, she's always had esteem issues with, I'm a problem, I'm a Jinx, I'm just in the way. There, you could see in that like subtle eye movement, she's like questioning it. And also the shimmer is definitely a factor here, and it's gonna be interesting seeing how that affects her going forward. I personally still think I would have enjoyed that scene more had Jinx not been there, but either way, phenomenal, and I don't mind her being there, but it adds more to it than I think I wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I also would have preferred it to be just a solo scene for Silco and his reflections.
But the fun part is now we got all these different interpretations and conspiracies / questions about, is Silco being honest? You don't know. Huh? I also think it's kind of very appropriate that Vander appears to have been built using scrap metal almost, because he's a very resourceful man and he made all of these little pieces come together and work somehow and function the Undercity when he charged. I think it reflects him well. I don't think like a super shiny, perfectly smooth gold statue or anything.
Yeah, this pristine monument would not have been fitting to who Vander was and what he stood for.
Yeah, exactly. Very fitting.
You want something that clearly makes a statement about who this character is, but you also want something that's adaptable. So this is the beginning of episode 3. We have this Pokemon that comes in.
Pokemon that comes in. What did he say? Oh.
Pokemon that comes in.
I thought he said Pokemon. I know that doesn't make any sense. I've been looking at a lot of Pokemon. Beautiful vocal. Let's hear it.
So, for example, we have this character Silco.
Wait, question.
He's kind of one of the villains of the show. He's a complex character.
I'll rewind to make sure we're clear on what's saying. But can you imagine just being able to belt out the fucking Halo theme music at any time you wanted? That'd be amazing. If I had her vocals, every time I go to the toilet, I'd just be like doing that because it goes off and it'd be sounding great. Like a superpower.
Kinda, yeah.
Let's see what the guy was saying.
So, for example, we have this character Silco. He's kind of one of the villains of the show. He's a complex character. He has good reasons for some of his motives, but he's sort of a villain. The music that I ended up writing for him is not sort of villainous at all. It's very sort of welcoming and kind of seductive in a way. So sometimes when we...
I do agree. Silco is quite a seductive man.
I immediately thought back to the video you made where who would be the best kisser or something like that.
No, that's not the whole video. That's not the whole fucking video.
I know that's not
dude.
the whole video, but that came up in the video.
Yeah. I didn't make a whole video on the... Okay, I'll give context. There's a video coming out soon where we did Who's Most Likely, and we just played a game of Who's Most Likely, but with our Arcane cast. And one of the cards was Who's the Best Kisser, and I may or may not have said Silco. And Elias judged my...
I immediately demanded a reason, like, explanation for it.
And there you go. That's your explanation, Elias. It's because of the music. The music was seductive, so that's why I got this subconscious seductive nature to Silco, alright?
Alright, that's fair.
Fair enough. But yeah, that video will be coming out soon, so hopefully you'll look forward to that. It was just a fun little game that we played, and it was interesting, as you could probably presume from that quick little snip review.
When we use these sort of motifs, they come back in kind of subtle ways.
We really wanted to have just melodies, you know, for characters. Like, really, like you should feel like you remember this character in this moment when you hear this melody. That's
what I was thinking with my Spider-Man reference. When you hear that music, you don't even need to, before he even shows up on screen, you know who it is. Same thing, like with Darth Vader, he has his own, you know, like, da, 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 da. You know, you fucking know who's coming into the room. You don't need a seat. So I like when some people don't particularly like that. Like it could be over exaggerate. That's the word. It could be too on the nose, but I personally like when a character has their own theme, I think. It's a classic thing done in Star Wars a lot.
It makes me think it was a while ago at this point, but a video showed up on my YouTube recommended it. Someone analyzing the musical scores of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they brought up Zuko and his musical themes that come up throughout the show, and also how they evolve with his character throughout the show. You know where he is in his character development with how the music changes.
Sounds like a fun video. Send me the link to that, and if anybody's interested, I can link it in the descriptions.
Okay.
They're always there, but sometimes they're darker, sometimes they're brighter, sometimes they're faster, but they're always there.
Alex Temple, the lead composer, he's just such a...
So, I'm like subconsciously aware of whose music is whose, but it was cool to see Powder versus Jinx.
Yeah, it was.
I've never heard it side by side like that before because, you know, of the nature of the show. So, hearing it side by side like that, I was like, oh shit! Oh fucking shit! I was doing that internally. I was inside doing that. I was like, oh fuck. I didn't think it'd sound very pretty to say oh shit over the... So I didn't say, oh shit! Oh fucking...
God tier orchestra composer, like to a level I can't get to.
First violins at bar 13 can play that.
Oh, that's funny. The chat on the left.
On the left, yeah, it's funny. I like it too.
I don't know, it just feels like a fucking fun little online school chat or something.
One more for luck, and then we'll move on.
Oh, quick story. There was... I had a friend back in high school and went over their house. And I don't know which instrument they had. I think it was the big one, like the cello they played. And I leaned back onto the bow and snapped it by accident.
Yikes.
The first time I had actually like found the courage to hang out with them. And I remember like because to me I'm like, they can't be that expensive. They're just like a thin piece of wood with... No, it was like over $100. Like, oh,
damn, dude.
I feel bad. And they're like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm worrying about it.
That blows. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I don't actually think I hung out with them again. I think I've hung out with them again in like group settings, but never like alone, because I just would break their property, I guess they thought. I'm not sure.
It's funny because I was a French horn player growing up, and so I listened to just all...
What? More French horn? No. We need like Berlin horn and...
The Berlin horn.
Berlin horn. Yeah, I don't know. Also, I don't know if you saw. Wait.
It's funny because I was a French horn player growing up, and
looks like there's a calculator I don't know.
On the right.
I thought that was a calculator at first.
It looks like one of those old school calculators that would spit out the little,
Yeah,
like a little piece of paper out of the top of it.
yeah, and then the monitor to the left kind of reminds me of an old arcade game, or when you're looking at outer space and there's like a meteor coming in.
You gotta shoot out the meteors coming towards Earth.
No, not the arcade game, like in movies when it's like, oh, it's projected to be 9 months from now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then also, it looks like the lamps are microphones.
Oh my god, I thought it was a thermos sitting in front of the lamp. I didn't realize. Yeah,
That's a fancy, smooth water bottle up there.
it is a fancy, smooth water bottle.
And so I listened to just all this Mahler and like Bruckner and all these
Mahler.
people, and so
Mahler. There's a YouTuber named Mahler who makes very good video essays. So he just put out one on Doctor Strange. I recommend you check it out. It's pretty cool.
Mahler with him, and he's just like, oh, the specific recording of George Schulte from 1975. I prefer the third movement versus the Bernstein recording. And you're like, okay.
I have no idea what the fuck any of that is, but sounds cool.
It's so pretty.
Dude, how do you not transcend spiritually on a daily basis if you're in a room like that? I don't know.
Ray Chen is a phenomenal violinist. You never know quite what it's going to be like.
He looks like the violinist that
someone
was in
who's
Arcane.
at the top of their field.
They're giving him some
He's probably the
special
first
attention.
Classical violinist who plays on like a 20s whatever $1 million Stradivarius to an animated series.
It seems like Arcane broke a wall, which I'm glad it broke a wall, whereas I think animations for some reason viewed as kiddish. Like they have to be, like, I think Rick and Morty, dare I cite them, and a few other animated shows, they either have to be outlandish to get your attention, be like, look, we're adult, we have funny adult jokes about adult pornography or, you know, like drugs. Like we're very overtly like, look, we're an adult cartoon, we make adult jokes. And then animated series just aren't taken as seriously, you know? Like kind of...
They're just viewed as something for children, yeah.
Yeah, and then to take on a project that it very quickly becomes evident that it's for adults, but it's not in your face with like sex and drugs, you know? It's like, hey, it's adult because it has some really dark themes about how fucking hard life is that a kid won't get.
Yeah.
Forget the point of it. Wait, you said this was the guy from the show?
He, at least from what I remember, it looks a lot like the solo violinist that was in Arcane that Jace and Mel were watching.
What? I didn't realize that. That's so fucking cool. Are you talking about in the theater?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so appropriate. That the quote I guess they chose in the beginning was from that scene then.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
He's got a lot of patience. A lot of the time, the music I put in front of him, it's written because we know.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It is him!
Oh.
Did it with a smile on his face too.
He damaged the bow.
Oh no!
About that.
Horrible, my god.
Yes, who was the composer who composed this?
Ridiculous, like shredding on a
Approaching the finale
violin.
of the first
Yeah.
season, it's getting very dramatic for all of our characters. This is a cue that's based on the theme of the character Viktor. This is around the time when he pushes his body and the transformation further and further, and kind of gets seduced in a way by this hex core, and starts to kind of lose parts of his humanity. And there's kind of like a like a terrible view.
I think right there he was struggling to find the word, and that's fine. And I think that's because music is a completely different language, and words, as even the best writers, the people that could pick the best words, would not be able to fully enclose the message and language that the music is conveying, right? And I'm not like picking on him for struggling to find the word. I think he was struggling to find the word because
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. The words literally don't exist for the... I can relate to his little moment there where he was struggling to find the appropriate word, because honestly, with music, you just can't. There is not word. No word.
Yeah.
Just sound. just
It's not a good thing that's happening, but at the same time, this is kind of like a leveling up of the character. This is an important stage of his development.
XP. XP boost.
Try to find a moment where the music can actually take over and be in the spotlight.
Highly controversial? Question mark? I don't know. I just know it's debated. The scene where they add in... I like giving the music spotlight. Very good. Yes, yes. But the scene where they have Imagine Dragons in the actual show, I don't know if I was the biggest fan of.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it didn't quite fit in well. I don't want to be too harsh. It was nice, but it didn't mesh as well as I think it could have.
It was too on the nose for me, personally. It was cool. I mean, it depends. I think if you're an Imagine Dragons fan, it was probably really nice to see them in there. But it took me out of my immersion. I was like reminded that the real world exists. No, I don't want to be reminded of this place. No.
Working on Arcane, the pressure is pretty high. All these great, amazing artists, and the story is amazing, and the animation is amazing, the score is amazing, the sound is great.
He's summing it up
has to be
quite well.
Good too. The songs have to be good.
Sebastian is this interesting character. I remember in his interview, we always asked him, like, what kind of song would you make for this character, for that moment? And he would just go, I don't know. And so we were like, we don't know if he's the right guy for the job. And then you just start hearing the songs, and all of a sudden, you're just blown away. He's the kind of person that just does, but doesn't talk about it.
Yes, I don't know if this enhances my point at all, but it just reminds me, like, language, it's not the same. It's just completely different. I don't know. And then you do know, it's not in English or any speakable language. It's just a sound. It's just the vibrations, man. I don't know. By the way, the concert I went to yesterday, they didn't give any warning before it started, and I was standing, like, directly in front, right in front, like, right holding onto the gate or the little fence. Yeah. It just, the sound wave hit me so hard, and like my entire being was vibrating. The sound was fucking loud. Like, I was like, okay, it's loud, I'm deaf instantly. But I was expecting that. I was not expecting to be moving. You know what I mean?
The physical mass carried with the song.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good concert. So.
Sweet.
We call these the banger labs.
The banger labs?
All the bangers are made. Well, have we heard there's some music going on?
So I had already worked on cinematics for Riot and music videos and things like that. But Arcane, the extra difficulty was that, the purpose of the song is for a scene, is for the story.
Unlike other movies and shows that might have just like a standalone.
This is a good workout song.
Soundtrack.
I don't know if you've tried.
We actually wrote these to picture. I know for Sebastian and myself, it was like really difficult to like figure out that language where we're getting things to feel like a song, but also getting them to dodge between dialogue or like hit peak moments to picture, which might not be happening at a set tempo.
Okay, one of the first things I talked about was how I was like, I'm glad they weren't like, oh, this is just a fight scene, let's just make fight scene music. Remember we were talking about that? Yeah. But they still seemed like they balanced. They didn't just make it way beforehand. They still made the music and knew what the scene looked like. So they also integrated dialogue and stuff precisely. And if there were fight moments, precisely. It's interesting. They somehow did both at the same time, like met a middle ground of like, let's do, we gotta make fight scene music, but we also want to just make like the thematic music. Oh, but there's dialogue and a fight scene happening between. Let's do both? Damn. That's, the thing with me is, I don't know, I maybe have had like a bad high school experience in the day, or just in general, team activities across the board. Shit never fucking goes well. Like, I remember all the way back to elementary school, all the way back to fucking field day. I don't know if you guys had this, I had field day where it's like team sports, and you had like red, blue, yellow, green, purple teams. Like the color at the end of the day that had the most points with the most games won would be like the superior team. It was like a fun activity day. Fucking no one could cooperate to save anybody's life, ever. Any of the years that I was there, 1st through 5th grade, and then throughout middle school and high school, and even now in college, man, it's the level of cooperation you need. My point, you're like, what the fuck's the point? I understand. The point being, the coordination you need to be producing the music while also having the writers and the scene design with the dialogue going on, and like the music people want to know, when's the dialogue gonna be in, so when do I need to like keep the music at a different, you know, how long do I need how many beats and lines do I need so the dialogue can have talk, or like, okay, it's just the amount of coordination that is fucking required to work at this level of skill and artistry. I kind of don't think it's real, just because I've never experienced it. I'm just saying, like, it seems like they're really fucking coordinated. Like, I would not want to go up against them in field day. You know what I mean? They would fucking... they're kind of like, they give me the vibes of people that would just look at each other and know already what to do without even saying a word. Like, just raise an eyebrow and they're like, oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck.
Like they're basically reading each other's minds, or the same person.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about, like, damn, man, there's just, because that I have flashbacks to the fucking production schedule that was rolled out comedically last episode.
Oh my god, the fucking like 10-foot long. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, thinking about music on that production schedule, coordinating with everybody, it's just like every time I watch another episode of the series, we're on part 4. There's one more part. And I guarantee you, by part 5, I'll still be I'll still be fucking surprised, because like they work together well, and it's like maybe I've just been traumatized by bad teamwork or something like that. But I have little faith in humanity to get shit done well. It's never been like, there's always one person that just carries it, and then the rest of people kind of drag their feet, or some people purposely like plant their ass and make it harder than it has to be.
Yeah.
That's my little rant. All right, we continue.
I think so much in what we do with the songs, you can kind of find parts of the world as well. Like Zon, this underground world where a lot of things kind of get repurposed, reused, mangled.
Before he says it, is it how they use like the clunky sounds? I love that, like the clunky industrial sounding sounds. Metal.
Just like bashing metal together.
Yeah. Oh, I immediately was like, that's fucking
Yeah.
Would the drums kind of also tell me? Where I feel like, okay, if Jinx would design a kick drum, what would it sound like?
She totally understood the vibe of what we were trying to convey, you know, descending into Zon, and it just was perfect.
Wait, what? There's a real life set?
I guess there is, yeah.
What? Hold up.
That's pretty fucking dope. Yeah.
I'm going back to 1348. Wait.
Okay.
There's a thing on the bottom right corner. I'm chewing a carrot. I don't know why I decided to eat a carrot while recording a video. Hold up. Okay, carrot's gone. That's crazy. Why the fuck? I want to go. I want to go to the last drop. Go. Fuck Disneyland. I want to go here.
Give me the trashy.
Give me this. Yeah. Give me
this shithole.
I'm gonna say, give me the shimmer. It looks fun.
Okay.
I don't know, dude. You fucking pump some shimmer in yourself, and then you can suddenly lift a pool table. Like, sounds like a good old time.
We didn't even initially think about Wood Kid for this song. We had him for a different one, and he happened to hear this demo and went, oh, let me do that one instead. And it was the greatest thing that could have ever happened. This was like sort of an action-y piece when I had first written it, and then he turned it into the most chill-inducing string thing I've ever heard.
Oh, shit! That was supposed to be a fucking action scene with a different music vibe.
I'm pretty fucking glad they went with this kind of vibe instead. This vibe's cool. I'm too busy fangirling over the coolness of what I'm looking at to think why.
Oh no. Oh, sorry, my chairs. Maybe I don't know. Vote in chat. Should I get if I hit 1,000 subs, should I treat myself to a nice mic first, or a chair that's not squeaky?
Also, the chair is it's part of the personality of the channel.
You think so?
Your dying chair.
My dying chair. I think my chair's happy. I take good care of it.
Yeah, it's happy. It doesn't mean that it's not, you know.
I just ate another carrot, and it's just gonna make crunchy noises. Wait, here, I can do an ASMR thing.
Oh wow, that was a nice crisp snap. You think of like getting real close to a rabbit and feeding him.
Like a Looney Tune?
No, like a literal small little rabbit in a cage. giving them like a baby carrot and just listening to them nibble on it for a while.
I'd like to be a tiny rabbit, because then I wouldn't
That'd
have
be nice.
to deal with trauma like Jinx is. Like, just look, I'm looking back at the screen and going like, oh yeah, life is hard, and then that's just how I feel. But yeah, this scene, I can see why it would be originally written as an action scene, or to have like more of an actiony fast pace, because they're trying to rush to get to Jinx, and they're getting away from Silco. It's like a very high action moment. But yeah, fucking shit just lines up, I guess.
But yeah, so like it always just starts here, and then you never quite know what it's gonna end up being.
Being open to changing after you already have in mind where you want to go, for me, is something I struggle with. And it seems like they're open to it, and that's good, because it's, from my experience and just in general, the advice from, I think, almost any media artist would be to allow your writing or your drawing or your painting or your music to adapt as it's in the progress. But like when I don't know, I struggle when I go to write my outline or a rough draft, and I just really have this idea in mind. But then I kind of start to realize, well, it would make more sense if, or sometimes I really want to see that idea to fruition. Thanks. I hate that word. I've hated that word since I was a kid. That's, you know what, the squeaky chair and the fact that I can't say words, I think, will be the character of the channel.
Cool.
They'll get like one fucked up word per video and squeaky chair bit per.
At least.
Yeah. But that's something I'm personally working on as a writer, is learning to let go what I've written, especially when I've already written a lot.
Yeah, it's difficult, dude.
Well, it's like, even with your drawings, I watch you do it sometimes when you stream to me. It's just fucking erase like the whole ass head or the whole ass hand. I'm like, you spent an hour drawing that, and you're like, yep. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'll be like sobbing on the end, dude. I spent like a whole week just allowing myself to like, this needs to change or I fuck this up, get rid of all of it, start brand new, start fresh. That's difficult. I think a lot of time to be comfortable with, but it ends up helping with the final product.
I agree, and it's just the fact that they are able to have this mentality of, oh, this artist wants to sing this song, let's see how it goes. Oh, it turned out better. That's cool. As you would say, that is cool. So.
After the cut, the episodes were already done, and so now if we do it early enough, we would have the ability for the artist to just kind of write whatever they want, and then we can cut the episodes to it. I think it was such a limitation for the writing musicians, you know?
Oh.
Working with Christian is pretty special because he's a musician. That's also another great thing about him, is that he's not gonna waste time. If it's not great, he'll tell you.
I appreciate this mentality. It's not great, I'll tell you. Elias knows me pretty well, and I kind of do the same thing towards myself as well as other people. Like, that's bad, but then, you know, only if it's helpful 99% of the time. But I think on a production like this, having someone just get to the point, not fuck around, important.
Yeah.
Christian started his career at Riot in an entry-level position, answering tickets when players have a problem, whether it's a technical problem
That's
or billing
crazy.
problem. Then only a couple years later, he started to write some music, and only then we realized, oh my God, this guy is an amazing talent.
Christian, the first time I met him, he came onto campus, very quiet, very unassuming, other than, of course, the neck tattoo. And, I'm like, so, tell me, what jobs have you worked? What have you done prior to coming here? And he's like, oh, well, I did some music. I was in a band.
Wait a second. Christian fucking... He was in a... Speaking of concerts, did he do fuck... Because this looks like they're about to say he did some rock, metal.
Yeah.
I mean, he is all yadded up, Yeah. That's cool. I did not know that. You learn new things, I wonder, looks like he played guitar or bass. Let's see.
Took me a little while to realize that he was, in fact, a
oh,
big deal.
Shit!
I believe he told me the biggest
Oh,
audience
wait.
he played.
I gotta replay that. He grinned. I loved the way he grinned just there. He's like...
a little smirk.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I know I'm hot shit. You know what I mean? Like, I was in a band. Let me show you, man. I can play guitar. I can sing. All right. Hold up, I gotta replay
that he
it.
was, in fact, a big deal. I believe.
I love it. Great. Good shit. It's like, that smirk just says it all.
Yeah.
Also, I love this grainy footage. I just did a video on nostalgia, and I got hooked on looking at footage that's grainy. Like, I just find it more appealing than 4K. That's backwards. I know, it sounds completely backwards. But yeah, no, I've just had this obsession recently. Like, I kind of want to use grainy footage in my videos. Moving, like, old footage, you know, like 80s and 90s footage, because there's just something about it that I love the aesthetic of. Even though I guess objectively it is less good quality. But to me, I don't know, it makes me have the feelings. Yeah, if you want to go give that video some love, I'd really appreciate that. I worked on that for quite a while, and it's about nostalgia and how it's everywhere. It was even, at one point, slight spoiler, mental illness considered back in the 1600s. So, I don't know. Did you know? I don't know. Go watch the video and you'll find out.
It's a good video.
Oh, fuck you. You're my friend. You're supposed to say stuff like that.
Well, sure, but...
Alright, let's keep playing.
The biggest audience he played in front of was like 100,000 people.
What?
Jesus.
Christian's a freak because
Ooh,
he gives
a
us
freak.
feedback like,
Ooh.
no, the cello needs to be in
A
this
freak.
power and it needs to be this dynamic. Like, he just knows how to speak music. My favorite Christian feedback. When I released my album, I had one song that I was like super into, and I'm still really happy with it, but I just remember Christian was like, and Christian liked it when I was working on it, and then he heard the final, he's like, it sounds unfinished.
Sweet.
Christian and I have that probably in
You gotta
common.
break them before we can build them up.
Yeah, we're also
blossom like a flower.
Establish dependence.
He goes to give us high fives and we flinch.
Alright.
We're all so broken.
It's going, it's just the episode 8 track where we're just gonna have to pivot. It's the last song we had to come up with, and this one was...
The hardest one.
Yeah, really.
Oh, wait.
Concept was
Which song is the hardest? I think they said episode 8. What song is the episode? What do you think was the hardest song?
I definitely do not know. I do not remember.
Okay, I'm trying to think what happened in episode. Because if I know what happened in episode 8, then I probably can remember what songs there were. Episode 8 was the one, I think, where Vi go fight with Jace? I'm pretty sure. I'll go double check real quick. Hold up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the episode where Vi went to go fight with Jace. So
Okay.
if it's that one, the one where they're fucking fighting, that song slaps. The energy in that scene. That was Tom's favorite scene from our favorite scene breakdown. The music makes that scene too. It's just the pacing. Good. Well, let's see. I'll shut the fuck up. I'll keep watching.
Ambitious.
ambitious and hard to execute.
It is!
Ooh.
When you kind of go into it knowing like...
Wait, quick note. This is, I think, an instance, in my opinion, where they're like, this is a fight scene, and we need to make music for a fucking fight scene. And they went above and beyond still. They probably still, knowing them, had, like, Vi and Jace's theme somewhere fucking in there in the depths. But, like, this was a fucking fight scene, and they're like, yeah, let's make some fight scene music.
Yeah, let's make a badass fight scene.
So this is a bit of a Hail Mary, just to kind of say, hey, we couldn't really figure it out, and so someone had recommended Paris, you know, just because she has a really cool sound, and then we just kind of went, maybe we should just let her do her thing. So this is like a demo they send over, and yeah, we're just
Sometimes that's best when you don't really know what you're doing.
First time.
Just get started. Yeah, buddy! So currently I'm kind of getting the vibe of like, it kind of feels like background music.
Yeah.
They edited it to make it fit better with the final sound, like the final song sound and with the actual, but like watching that sequence just there, Jace fighting. I was like, that doesn't hit as hard as when I watched the scene. I was like, oh, fuck, because they just, you know.
Yeah, I'm getting that too.
Hello, this is Editor Silly here. While I was editing this, I realized why I thought it wasn't as impactful, even though it's literally the exact same music that plays over it in the scene itself. It's because there's not the sound effects of the weaponry, like the clinking and clanging. I didn't make that connection at the time, realized it now, so I just wanted to add in a quick note to let you know. Oh, fuck. Alright, thanks for watching. Because that's what I think most shows would stop at, or most people be like, oh, cool, we have a really good song for the background, slap it in there. They're like, nah. That ain't gonna do. Why did I put another carrot in my mouth? Alright.
Is that what that fucking sound was?
I'm like, I'm recording. You can't eat carrots. That's like the worst thing to eat while you're recording too. There's no way to be quiet while eating a carrot.
Yeah.
Because at least
or just like a really juicy apple.
No, I mean, because even if I were to, like, with goldfish, I could at least put the fucker in my mouth and, like, let it become a mushy, gross thing. And you wouldn't even know I ate it. But with a fucking carrot, I could sit that bitch in my mouth for, like, an hour and it still wouldn't go anywhere. So, anyway, let's...
slam it like a
These
pill.
people are here for Arcane, not how I digest food.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, her voice just feels like kind of something that vibe with. The attitude's really, really fun.
Yeah, there's attitude.
She even has like the
oh,
shaved
that's a middle
side,
finger. That's attitude.
And then like the nose ring. I was like, she's fine.
Oh yeah, I could see the Vi attitude.
Yeah.
Well, hello.
Oh, hello there.
This is Daniel Platzman, our drummer.
How's it going?
Hello.
Ben McKee, our bass player.
Hello.
Fancy meeting you here.
And Wayne Sermon, the guitarist.
Hello.
And this wasn't planned at all. I can't believe you guys are in here at this exact time.
What are you doing here? I just felt like I needed to be here.
Vi is actually...
Hey, that's the shot they used last time when they were closing up. Remember, in the end of part 3.
My memory's so bad. I can't.
That's right. The player that I play on League of Legends, so I definitely associated with it. And
oh shit.
That was a question I had.
That's cool.
The 3 of us play. So Platzman plays. Ben's a more old school gamer.
Did you try League?
No, pause it. He's like, do you play League? And he's like, Because, like, you make music for a show that's based off of a game that you're like, actually, I don't want to play. He's like, you could, funny, make me laugh.
I've tried League. It is.
I've tried it.
I am a simple man.
We've
rough.
certainly been.
simple,
We have
man.
definitely been
You've been
late
banned?
on stage.
You think they baby raged and got banned
Tens
before?
of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, because we were finishing a ranked League of Legends game.
No
They
way.
didn't want to get banned.
Oh, they didn't want to get banned. That's funny. That's
I love
good.
Riot. We've worked with them for
That's
a long
awesome.
time, and we've been a part of the community for years. And I love Christian. We vibed out. He told me about what he'd been working on. He showed me a lot of slides and storyboard. At that time, it was in the very early stages of Arcane. You know, as far as Enemy goes, I think there's a lot of times in people's lives where you just feel like alone, or you feel isolated. And that song is written in isolation and feeling kind of you against the world.
I don't know if the song's copyrighted. If it's not, I'll leave it in. But I remember originally not particularly enjoying the vibe of this song. Like, I just didn't think the vibe of the song matched.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
And then as the series continued and I started to like really fall in love with the show, the song kind of grew on me as a result of me liking the show. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like originally I wasn't a big fan. Then Arcane was really good. So I'm like, oh, now my brain associates this song. Like Pavlov's dog myself into hearing that song and be like, fuck yeah, it's Arcane time, bitch. That was awkward. I don't know why I felt awkward, but I felt awkward.
I mean, it goes without saying, like, the last scene of season 1 is probably going to be an important scene. You know, Alex, could you write us a song that fills this moment? And you're like, sure, I'm going to have a panic attack first. I'm going to go see my therapist. And then as soon as I center myself, try and write a song that lives up to that moment. So here's some of the initial stems that I had done. It was just like
So I'm not saying anything because I'm just blown away. I get chills every time I hear this song.
The way it starts is just like a person just like lamenting. I mean, it was really Jinx's voice in this song. The lyrics for that one came quickly. The difficulty with that was writing a song that's structured properly.
But yeah, because I have to kind of cut it, structure it to the escalation of firing the rocket.
Yeah.
Vi and Caitlyn's reaction, and then going to the council, building up that.
Yeah.
Because Jinx fires this rocket at first, which is like a beautiful moment as it soars across the sky.
Yeah, it's fucked up, but this moment is such a beautiful moment. And the rocket isn't going in slow-mo, but because, oh, fun little fact. Elias at first thought the rocket was going to the moon.
Yeah, I don't.
Hey, maybe someone in the comments will say they thought it was the same thing. It might not just be you. You're that person's. Elias originally thought the way it was shot and like edited, he thought she fired a rocket at the moon and was gonna explode the moon. I picked on him for it.
I didn't. I thought she fired it away from the thing, and I was aiming towards the whatever. I didn't think she actually fired towards Piltover.
No, yeah, I could see it. I rewatched it and I was like, oh yeah, I could kind of see how that's going toward the moon because they have the moon in the background, and yeah, I just pick on it for it. But this moment, I think because of the music and because it kind of looks like it's not in slow-mo, but the rocket takes a while to reach there, and we have all of this time in between, and then we do have the slow-mo of Vi and Caitlin's reaction, and we have like the slow-mo of the council and all of that. Juxtapose, fuck that word, juxtapose. In contrast, that slow-mo in contrast with this rocket just fucking speeding. Every time we get that edit, I'll put in the scene so like we could see it, but it's the slow-mo of the reaction and everything that's going on character beat-wise, and then plot-wise, we just have this fucking rocket, and it's we got the sound to confirm that it's traveling at speed.
I wasn't at the point in the song that something that big was supposed to happen yet, so we had to like figure out how to write almost like a bridge section that is this rocket blast moment before we get back to the second verse and before we continue the song. We had him there, and we were able to talk to him about it and get him into it and show him the sequence, and he was just really generous, and it did exactly what we had hoped, which is just elevate it into this moment that is kind of above everything else. Like when you hear Sting's voice enter, you're just like, what could have been?
Oh, not crying. You're crying. I'm not crying.
You know, it's funny because you work on these moments for so long until you actually, like, and you think, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. But you just don't quite know until you actually see everything done. And you just have that feeling for like 2 or 3 years where you go, I think it's gonna be amazing, but I'm not quite sure. And you just kind of have to wait because you just, you know, does the music come together? Does it have that kind of magical touch? You know, like, does the storytelling come together? Does the acting kind of come together?
I'm curious to see how it will go when this show hits all the platforms so people can watch it and it's released, and how it'll go for our League audience, you know, and also kind of like the general audience. A League audience, they will certainly tell us how they feel.
This was the thing I think maybe got misunderstood in one of my previous videos when I was reacting to this, because I specifically was hoping that maybe we get some commentary on their reaction to having so many people that weren't previously League players or fans fall in love with their lore and their characters, because like they expected it, but I don't know if they expected it to the degree in which it has. The majority of people I know that love this show don't play League.
It's the emotion, but all I really hear is just the... It's pretty scary to know that you're working on something that really...
Water, like to see it, they're staying hydrated, good shit.
Not fail, you know, like that's not an option. And so it just makes you question everything.
Oh, intense ending. So the only 2 songs I had to edit out of this was The Enemy by Imagine Dragons, so that part wasn't in there, and then also the Sting part, unfortunately. Those 2 aren't owned by Riot. Okay. But besides that, I really enjoyed taking a look at the music aspect, because it's not just the background part. It's a part that had a fucking lot of effort put into it.
It's fucking awesome seeing the dude shred on the violin.
Whoa! Yeah! What the fuck?
That shit's insane.
It was like metal, but a violin version.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually quite sure what we're gonna go into season 5 with. Maybe a little bit. It seems like we might get a bit more on the reaction part, because that was one of the last things Christian had said. He talked about how, you know, for 2 to 3 years you don't know if it's gonna come out nice, and he's worrying about like the feedback. So I think part 5 will probably answer a lot of my questions I have about how did they react to our reactions, the League, and then just the general audience, because, you know, that influences, you know, maybe if we get a 3rd or a 4th or even a 5th season, you know, depending on the level of attention that they get and feedback that they get. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to part 5. I'm kind of not at the same time because that means it's gonna be over, and I've loved reacting to these and having you guys come along and just having great conversations about League along the way and the lore, and learning that Heimerdinger might be into some kinky stuff and just a lot of stuff I never thought to think of before. So, do you have any thoughts, favorite parts, or do you want to call someone else African American as friends?
Oh, nah, that's fine.
Wait, here, I'll eat another carrot.
Sweet.
I've like spit out like 20 carrots at this point. I keep putting them in my mouth and just be like, oh shit, I'm recording.
You just spit them out.
Because sometimes it's literally because sometimes it's literally like you're in the middle of saying something, or they're in the middle of talking. Like, well, I don't want to go back.
Ah, okay. I'm also enjoying watching the music part a little bit because I'm not a fucking musician or anything, but I do like to play the guitars. So I don't know, seeing some of the care that was put into the musical composition and what you said about how the music is just as important as the writing.
Dude, Christian fucking metalhead. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let me look up what band he was in real quick. Panic? It looks like the band's name was Panic. That's cool. They actually got some nominations for... Wow, I had no idea. They are a German band. That's probably why I fucking never heard of them, because I cannot pronounce the names. I can't even pronounce English, and I speak that primarily, so... but I'm gonna give a listen or two. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Panic with a K. So, anybody wants to check them out. Alright, well, part 5. I just hope... Part of me just wants to see them feel happy. I think that's really mainly what it is, that I want this production crew, I want to make sure they know their audience loves them, because after working so hard for so long, I just want, I don't know, it would make me feel better knowing they know that fucking there's people that love their story.
Yeah, me too. Especially with people like Christian who take it so to heart, the work that they create.
Yeah, precisely my thought, because especially since, they're gonna be stressing out again, and then maybe a third time. It's important that we know that they are loved, especially when doo-doo head, sorry, especially when doo-doo heads just say Jinx is a Harley Quinn remake, you're like, yikes. But yeah, alright, see you around for part 5, hope to see you there. I'll just add this note quickly on the end if you're still here and you're interested in my channel. Hi, I will be trying to stream on Fridays at night. So if you are bored like me, or just don't really have much going on and want a friend, you can come hang out. I'll be playing Nier Automata or Nier Automata. Either way you pronounce it is completely fine. I don't judge. And I'll be playing that for probably a good 2 or 3 Fridays in a row, trying to get hang on, or replaying the game, because I'm going to be making a video about it. And I want to make sure I got a little bit more under my belt, even though I've, so if you want to come join, that'd be super fun. If not, I'll be alone and it'll be awkward, but I'll be fine. So maybe I'll make Elias tag along. How do you feel about that?
Sure, I can pop in a couple times. I don't mind.
Wish it was
I'm not super interesting.
What do you mean? You have big ears. That's really cool.
I suppose that's well, you can't see them on them.
Yeah, I've been having tons of fun, and I love being a goofball. Specifically, I love being silly and chaotic, and somehow y'all tagging along. I would love feedback on if I left more breathing room for this one. I tried with the last one, and, yeah. So, see ya next time for the last one. Bye!